Hello everybody, welcome back to Jerby Apiary. Something new is going on. Took a drive up to Canandaigua, New York, and went to Hungry Bear Farms. They have a fantastic operation as far as picking up nucleus colonies. I went and got a nuke, but I don't have any langstroth hives. Or do I? Yes, I'm adding a langstroth hive, and a flow hive at that. Now, before you start attacking me with your uncapping knives, just hear me out. I'm experimenting. I'm trying different things, and that's how we learn and grow. I really like the Layens hive. I like the way that it's set up, and it's probably going to be my primary way of going forward. And I have 3 of those hives now. But I wanted to try the flow hive, see what all the fuss is about, see if it's for me. If it's not, I won't continue with it. And if it is, well, it's something new to add to the apiary. And either way, we're expanding bee colonies in the region, which is a good thing.
So what exactly is a flow hive? Well, I'll go into more detail on that in a future video, but it's essentially a langstroth hive that has a different type of setup for the super specifically so that honey can be flowing out of those frames rather than having to take the frames out and spin it. Like I said, I'll go into that in more detail in a future video and some of the pros and cons and conceptions and misconceptions that are out there on it. Now, by the time we got back from picking up the bees, it was kind of dark, so I couldn't install them right off. Instead, decided to put them overnight on top of the hive to let them kind of get oriented, and next day I can install them during the daylight. It was a little bit anticlimactic taking the plug out. We might have overreacted that they were going to be mad from being transported and come after us, but they did not at all. They were just more confused than anything. The next day, the bees were actually active, going out back and forth, so it was time for me to put them in the hive. First, I smoked them generously so that they were a little bit calmer and more withdrawn. This was a new experience for me, so I was kind of piecing this together as I went. Pried off the top with the hive tool, then took a good look inside. There was some dried sugar inside. First frame looked pretty good, had a lot of brood on there, also pollen, beautiful pollen. Didn't see the queen on that frame, put that into the hive. Second frame, more brood, and there are queen cups, definitely queen cells, looked like swarm cells. They were old looking though, and did not have any larvae in there, and I think this might have been from prior. Dropped that one in, and then I realized I wanted to do things in the order that the nucleus colony was in already and kind of put them in that sequence, so I rearranged. Third frame, even more brood. Just beautiful brood, all worker cells it looks like. And I dropped that into place, and so far, so good. Still no queen that I can see. This frame was beautiful. This had honey on top, eggs and larvae. It was really beautiful to look at. Just kind of take all that in. Multiple ages of development right here. Really nice. There were eggs on top and then larvae on the bottom. It was really nice to see those beautiful larvae and eggs. But alas, I couldn't gawk at it forever, so it was time to put it back in the hive and move to the last frame. Especially because it was a windy day and we wanted to get this done. This had mostly nectar and stores on it. Again, did not see the queen on there. Definitely seen a lot of evidence of a queen considering all the eggs and everything else, but did not see a queen directly. Last part of it was put frames in there around it, smoke them, drop in the last of the bees that were stuck inside of the box itself. I wouldn't trust them necessarily to march on this one in on their own, only because there are pheromones inside of that nucleus colony and it might distract the bees. So I wanted them all out of there so I can close it up. I put the plug back in so bees wouldn't go back in there. Inner cover, I'm doing a slide method in order to not pinch or crush any bees as I placed that on the top, and I did use a sugar water feeder on the top in order to give them a little bit of a boost since it is going to be raining like heck for the next 5 days and they just got installed. And they might not be able to do their orientation flight and find their resources in the next few days. Final thing I did was place the top on. Here you can see the bees are trying to get in on multiple entrances. They don't really know where the main entrance is, but I've took this as a good sign because I can see them fanning their pheromones after the disruption to the colony, kind of calling in the other bees around there so they know where their new home is. Again, I would take this as a good sign that the queen should be in there somewhere, and I just did not see her. The next day I went and checked on them, decided it was time to put an entrance reducer on there to prevent any kind of robbing since they're a fresh install and Hive 1 is going pretty darn strong, I would say. And I did ratchet strap around the inner cover to the bottom just because we're going to have some pretty good winds coming up. They do seem to be having a good time coming in and out, so things look well.
It's certainly different working with a langstroth hive as far as even handling the frames. It just feels different. Not bad, not better, not worse. It's just different, and I'm getting used to it. I did wear my full gloves and my full attire while putting in this colony, because this is not even a package that's in swarm mode. This is an actual nucleus colony. It's a mini hive, so I figured they could be a little bit more defensive, and I'm still learning, and the less skittish I am by having more protective equipment, probably the smoother I'll be. I will say I would have just done the vinyl gloves next time and run any risk that they can penetrate through those if they are a little bit feisty and sting, because the leather gloves are just so clumsy. And I think that would probably make them angrier more than anything else.
Everyone, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again at the JRB Apiary.